Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of this folk song family tree series. Today we will be taking a trip to Scarlet Town. Now this episode won't strictly be like the last episode or future episodes I'm planning. We're not necessarily going to be talking about the evolution of one song. We're going to be talking about a reoccurring idea that shows up in multiple songs. Now this all begins with Barbara Allen, Child Ballad 84. As with any other similar song, it has multiple names, it has multiple versions, but I'm just going to be sticking with the most simple for this video. The song dates back to the 1600s at least, and I think I read somewhere that it is one of the most widely collected folk ballads ever.
In Scarlet Town, where I was born, there was a fair maid dwelling. Sweet William on his deathbed lay, for love of Barbara Allen. He sent his servant into town to find where she was dwelling. He said, "Oh, dear, come to my master, if your name be Barbara Allen." And slowly, slowly she got up, and slowly she drew nigh him. And then she said, when she came there, "Young man, I think you're dying." He turned his face unto the wall, and death came creeping to him. He said, I do to all, I do to Barbara Allen. And she was walking on a day, she heard the death bell knelling, and now to her it seemed to say, hard-hearted Barbara Allen. And he was dead, and in his grave he came creeping to him. She said, "Oh mother, go make my bed, for his death has quite undone me. A hard-hearted creature that was I, to strike the one I love dearly. I'd wish I'd been kinder to him in the time of life when he was near me." Oh, Barbara Allen was laid in a grave, sweet William was laid beside her. Out of sweet William's heart there grew a rose, out of Barbara's there grew a briar.
There are a lot of things I can talk about, like I said. This song has hundreds of versions from Britain and the United States. It's been covered by people like Joan Baez, Art Garfunkel, Pete Seeger, Bob Dylan, and I'll get to Bob Dylan a little more later. I forgot to summarize the song. Sorry. But Barbara Allen, basic story is there's a person who is dying. Sweet William is what he's often named. And he sends for Barbara Allen, who comes to his deathbed. She doesn't take pity on him. In some versions, she laughs at him and things like that. He dies, and then she dies of sorrow. And a lot of times it mentions that rose grows out of his grave and a briar grows out of his grave. And in some versions, the two plants become entwined. There are elements in this song that show up in other songs. You see similar names, but I'm not going to be talking about that. I'm not going to be talking about its similarities in storyline to other songs. I'm not going to be talking about the character of Sweet William, who shows up in other songs. I'm going to be talking about two words that appear in this song. Two words that only appear in some variations of this song, actually. You know, if some versions of the song don't begin this way, but others do. And they begin by saying, "In Scarlet Town where I was born." And that is what I'm going to be talking about. lot of things are kind of thrown around, place names and stuff in these songs. You know, no one ever questions what Scarborough Fair is in the song Scarborough Fair. Or at least I haven't seen that much. But like I said, we're focusing on Scarlet Town, so you might wonder, what is Scarlet Town? Where is Scarlet Town? And the problem is, I can't really give a definite answer, because it's not really a real place. I did see on Wikipedia, so take this with a grain of salt, because I didn't see it anywhere else, that Scarlet Town could have been a pun referring to the place Reading in Berkshire, England. But the word scarlet can have a meaning in and of itself. Scarlet was seen as something offensive or immoral, and almost trashy, I guess, in the modern sense. And Scarlet Town is the home of Barbara Allen, who is hard-hearted. So you can kind of see that Scarlet is, you know, I guess this is probably not a good comparison, but it kind of has hints of a place almost like, you know, Las Vegas today. Scarlet could be seen as trashy or immoral, and you see hard-hearted Barbara Allen living there. It generally just casts a negative light on this town, but there's something about the name, something about the implied aspects of this town that are very subtle, obviously. It doesn't really go into a description about this town. All you really have is its name and just facts about the inhabitants. But something about it was captivating, because it has inspired at least 2 original songs. Now, I'm obviously no expert. I try to make sure that is known. Scarlet Town might have also been passed down through other folk traditions, and I just don't know, because I don't know a lot of things. Still, I see it in these 2 songs, and I see it in Barbara Allen, and as far as I can tell, Barbara Allen is where it came from. You know, like I said, it could have been passed down other places, but I just don't know. So, this idea of Scarlet Town, regardless of whether the people I'm going to talk about seized it originally from Barbara Allen or took it from Barbara Allen in a roundabout way, it came from this song, and it inspired 2 original songs. One is by Bob Dylan, and one is by Gillian Welch. Both of the songs kind of go along with the little clues about Scarlet Town that Barbara Allen gives, and they depict it as a bleak place with full of death, desperation, and loss. Though it's lyrically sparse, Gillian Welch's version does manage to make a reference to another song by mentioning Pretty Polly, which is an Appalachian murder ballad. Dylan's, on the other hand, is full of references. And I guess the name itself is a reference from both of them. Even though these songs focus on Scarlet Town, like Barbara Allen, they don't outright say Scarlet Town is a bad place, it's a dirty place, it's a trashy place, it's an immoral place. But they do heavily imply it through their storytelling and the words they use. Dylan's Scarlet Town is definitely a more colorful place than Welch's, because she describes, she mentions sleeping on the floor and things like that, where Dylan's kind of conjures up more images of a, I guess, decadent society with music and people and gold and things like that. While Welch's only really takes Scarlet Town from Barbara Allen, Dylan's definitely borrows some verses and other elements. Not the whole verses, but he mentions the first line is the same with the "In Scarlet Town Where I Was Born." He mentions Sweet William being on his deathbed, or mentions the month of May and things like that. Still, the song is 7 minutes long, and in direct mentions and correlations to Barbara Allen don't take up much of the song. So I didn't really talk much about. In conclusion, I know this wasn't terribly long, but we kind of see an interesting thing here, and that's kind of what it was all about, just pointing out an interesting piece of folk tradition. A song doesn't necessarily have to be continued. The two Scarlet Town songs are not a continuation of Barbara Allen. They're almost like a spin-off. And they take an interesting element and completely expand upon it. They make something new off of just one little phrase. And this, they make something entirely new off of just one little phrase. And it's interesting, even though, as far as I know, the songs were separately conceived. Both Dylan and Welch kind of made a similar Scarlet Town. Like, there are obvious differences, but they carry a lot of the same themes, and I think that shows the power of words, almost the power of suggestion in songs, because Barbara Allen doesn't say much about Scarlet Town, but just by the name alone and by little clues about what goes on there, you know what type of place it is. And if you're asked to write a song about it, if you do write a song about it, it's often similar to other songs that people write. And that's it.